Like a creepy neighbor, Bitcoin has just peeked its head into our windows after breaking the highs set nearly 2 weeks ago. And with Ethereum continuing liftoff, briefly breaking above 4,000 US dollars and coming within a few percent of all-time highs. Has Moon Mission 2021 completed, or has it just begun? I'm your host, Jason Jackhammer, and like a construction worker, I'm about to drill my way into these gainers. Absolutely very big, guys. So we have a lot to be talking about with not just Bitcoin and some of these top alts, but some other just very promising information as well. And with Bitcoin now concretely breaking the highs set roughly almost 2 weeks ago, is it too early to start soiling our trousers, or can we start making a mess right away? So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure to like, subscribe, turn this notification to these absolutely time-sensitive alerts. Make sure to enter for the ADA competition here. We have 11 days left, absolutely very big. And without any further ado, let's dump on in. Wow, so I want to start off here, and this is something we've been covering for a while now. We talked about it specifically yesterday, but guys, this is just absolutely so big, and it's going to be, I think, one of the reasons that, well, let me just get into it here. So we talked about this a lot yesterday, dubbed the hash crash, a steep drop in computing power. We showed you that chart yesterday as well. But basically saying, you know, it's over now. The hash rate, a measure of computing power used in mining and processing, has jumped as much as 55% in just the last about month and a half, when it hit almost a 2-year low. Prices for Bitcoin have recouped more than half of its losses since the April peak, and is now trading a little above 50,000 US dollars. So the reason, obviously, is that the miners were forced to pull their plug on energy-hungry machines. Mid-year government crackdown, which, again, China changes its laws like every other month, which doesn't really matter. Basically, the point of this here is that this is good for so many reasons. One, we're about to see what I think a lot of people have been waiting for, and that is further decentralization. It says even here that the nation amassed about 65% of the world's Bitcoin mining power prior to this crackdown. So even though that miners having to shut off and relocate and everything like that was not good for Bitcoin's price in the short term, and we saw that for about a 2-3 month period where it did drop over 50%, it's amazing in the long term. We do not want all of the mining for Bitcoin to be centralized anywhere. And I think many people watching would agree, you know, especially China. China already has the upper hand on so many things economically, financially, that don't even relate to crypto at all. So seeing mining power leave China is something that I think pretty much everybody on the planet, except for maybe people in China, think is a great thing. Although if you live in China and you believe in decentralization and you want Bitcoin to be more decentralized, then you also would like that as well. And it kind of just goes back to a key argument, especially with the US kind of talking about their own regulation, and it's something that's going to be coming up shortly here. If the US decides to really crack down on crypto, you know, if China continues to crack down, whatever the case is, short term, it will absolutely affect price. But long term, it's only a good thing. And long term, whoever decides to crack down on crypto and kind of just be harsh with the regulations ultimately is just going to lose. Okay, we fast forward to now, just a few months after this, we're just seeing these miners come back online and China have less of an influence on mining. Granted, still a lot, but a little bit less. And ultimately, whoever comes out with this crypto regulation, in the short term, people are going to think, wow, you're going to kill crypto. But at the end of the day, all that's going to happen is whoever cracks down on crypto is just going to end up being left behind. You know, you crack down on it, you know, insanely severely, then those people are pretty much cutting themselves off from this future. And again, it's decentralized. If it was centralized, you bet this thing would have been shut down 10 years ago. Okay, Bitcoin would not be anywhere close to where it is now if there was a company, if it had a central point of failure where somebody could just take it down. And again, that is literally the power of decentralization. So if you've ever heard the term, like, if you can't beat them, join them, this is by far maybe the best example. It fits perfectly. If you cannot beat crypto, join crypto. And I think it's very well established right now that I personally think the only way that you can beat crypto is if like an asteroid hits the earth and we all explode, which at that point, again, I don't think crypto is going to be that important if we all blow up. Basically, to summarize, a few months of pain, but now we are headed towards massive gains. And this bull cycle, every week that goes by, people realize more and more, okay, this was a mid-cycle correction. This was not the beginning of a bear market. Okay, are we still going to get corrections? Absolutely. There is going to be massive corrections. There's going to be $10,000 swings in Bitcoin's price. There could be a $10,000 downswing in Bitcoin's price by next week. but that doesn't mean that we're entering a long bear market. Keep in mind, we've also spent significant amount of time below this 21-week moving average, and guess what? We're now back above it, and it's been 1, 2, 3. We're on our 4th week above it. And remember the narrative that you were hearing all throughout this entire 3-month period right here. Basically, yeah, if we break above the 21 week, we're probably just going to get swiftly rejected like we did back right about here in February of 2018, where we could not get a single weekly close really concretely above it, and then we ultimately plummeted below it. And then when we had another attempt, we couldn't even get anywhere near a candle above it. And here we are on week 4 already of 1, 2, 3. We're on our 4th candle, very much above the 21 week. And things are looking, first of all, fundamentally more bullish than ever imaginable, to be fair. Okay, extremely bullish fundamentally, which again is more important in many regards than technicals, but also the technicals now are much more bullish. Okay, you've seen the bears kind of drop by the wayside because they, I think a lot of them realized, wow, maybe this actually could have been a mid-cycle correction and wasn't the beginning of some preposterous 2-year bear market. But with that being said, here we see Bitcoin now actually today getting a nice bounce right at the bottom of this trend line again. And, after spending a few days below the 21-day moving average, we did not go down to the 200-day. And ultimately, good for Bitcoin. As far as Bitcoin's short-term price, I think it is very, very unpredictable. At this moment, as we talked about yesterday, Bitcoin's long-term price is anything but unpredictable. It is insanely predictable long-term. But the short-term, a little fuzzy. Mid-term, I think, is more clear. And that's why I think mid-term, meaning a couple of months out, I would say 1 to 3 months out, I think we are in a very bullish position here. So mid-term, I think it's very much easier to read than day-to-day. But yeah, with that being said, Bitcoin's in a much better position. Ethereum continued to break out, now touching on 4K. Only a couple of percent now, but away from its all-time highs. Cardano obviously leading all of that, reaching all-time highs before Bitcoin and Ethereum did again, since back in May. And the DXY continues plummeting, and that's something we really do have to consider. Some people comment on these videos saying things like, I think you put too much emphasis on the DXY. I do cover it maybe 5% of a video maximum, so I don't cover it too much, but it is something that I think is important to watch. The DXY going down does not guarantee that Bitcoin's going to go up, but there is undoubtedly, objectively, a correlation, an inverse correlation between them, meaning if this goes down, Bitcoin goes up, generally. But with that being said, yes, Bitcoin did break to the upside out of this triangle. And again, more neutral patterns like this, and again, it's only a short-term pattern. It's not super significant anyway. This breakout target is only a couple $1,000s, which at this point for Bitcoin is not that much. Breaking out, $2,000-$3,000 for Bitcoin is good, but it's not something that people are going to, drop their panties at. It's not something insanely exciting. But yeah, in a bull market, neutral patterns tend to break out bullishly more so than bearishly. Similarly, in a bear market, neutral patterns, symmetrical triangles are fairly neutral. If this was a bear market, this would have a much higher probability of just breaking down. And even so, in a bear market, even some bullish patterns just lose a lot of their bullishness and end up breaking down very often. And in a bull market, often we see even some bearish patterns end up just breaking bullishly because we're in a bull market. So the context and the trend is much more important, and always you have to factor it in to these patterns here. And for example, something like this, there have been numerous different types of rising wedges that have been pretty objectively clear on these charts, but obviously certain levels of support just hold, and up until this point it's just been proven very strong for Bitcoin because I think we're very bullish right now. With that being said, one thing I think it's important that everybody prepare for is that this $50,000 range is not going to be a walk in the park. Okay, there is going to be probably some further correction. Maybe it only could be for a day or two, but probably a significant move. I'm talking maybe at minimum $5,000 swing, potentially up to a 5-digit $10,000 plus swing. But again, this is our last big chunk of resistance where we spent 3 months trying to gather support here. So this is now going to be resistance. But as I've always said, breaking above 59,000, I think we're basically clear, green lit to blast to new all-time highs. Even though the all-time high was at about 65,000, I think breaking, $6,000 below that at 59,000, reclaiming that is a clear green light to go. It's a long-term fettuccine resistance right here. And by that point, most of the accumulated support turned resistance is not really at 65,000. 65,000 was kind of like a quick blow off. Much of the resistance is actually even in that 59 to 56 or 59 to $55,000 level. So there's a clear chunk of resistance there that really breaking 59,000 is a very good sign there. But at this point, yeah, I mean, the fact that Bitcoin yet again put in a new higher high, okay, so we have multiple of these. We had one on July 30th, then even August 9th, August 13th, then we have here August 23rd, or even this entire week pretty much. And yeah, after flirting with some potentially threatening levels, dangerous levels, Bitcoin so far has been strong here. And I think overwhelmingly, again, I think the context is very bullish. Why? Because I still think we're in the middle of a bull cycle. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure to like, subscribe, turn notifications, absolutely time-sensitive alerts. Make sure to enter for the comments below. About 12 days left. Make sure to visit Tyler S. Crypto, pinned in the description below for any kind of bonuses or anything like that. Without any further ado, it's it for me. Bye-bye.